Hello dear students, welcome back again to Chinmoy's biology channel. So this is a new episode for the human reproductive system for 12th CBSE students in biology. So today we are here with the female reproductive system. So let's get started without further delay. So let's start with the female reproductive system now. So previously I've already completed the male reproductive system. So this is the female reproductive system. So the female reproductive system, it is consisting of what? It is consisting of a pair of ovaries with a pair of oviducts, uterus, cervix, vagina and the external genitalia. So these are all the parts of a female reproductive system located in the pelvic region. So when we scroll down, I'll show you the diagram of the female reproductive system. Okay. So these parts of the system along with a pair of mammary glands are integrated structurally and functionally to support the process of ovulation, fertilization, pregnancy, birth and childcare. Right? So all the processes are together. They are all together performing the ovulation, fertilization, pregnancy, birth and childcare. Now, as ovaries are the primary female sex organs that produce the female gamete or the ovum. So, the male gamete is the sperm and the female gamete is the ovum. And several steroid hormones or the ovarian hormones are produced from the ovaries. All the details we will see gradually, right? The ovaries are located on one side, on each side of the lower abdomen. Each ovary is above 2 to 4 centimeter in length and is connected to the pelvic wall. So it's connected to the pelvic wall and it's about 2 to 4 centimeter in length. Now the uterus it is connected to the pelvic wall and the uterus by the ligaments. Now each ovary is covered by a thin epithelium which encloses the ovarian stroma. Okay, it is covered with a thin epithelium or a covering. Now the ovarian stroma is again divided into two zones. One is the peripheral cortex and two is the inner medulla. So till now is it clear? So the female reproductive system consists of ovary, oviducts. It is consisting of ovary, oviducts and uterus, cervix, vagina and the external genitalia. It is 2 to 4 centimeter in length and it is connected to the pelvic wall as well as to the uterus with the ligaments, right? So now we can also say that it is located in the lower abdomen and the stroma, it is covered by a thin epithelium which encloses the ovarian stroma, and the stroma is again divided into two zones, peripheral cortex and the inner medulla. Now we will move on to the diagram. Now here we are seeing the female pelvis showing the reproductive system, right? So we are seeing the female pelvis showing the reproductive system. Now the oviducts or the fallopian tube, uterus, vagina constitute the female accessory ducts. So if you are getting a question that what are the female accessory ducts, they are the oviducts or the fallopian tubes, second is the uterus and third is the vagina. So these three constitute the female accessory duct, right? So here if you are seeing the female reproductive system in this way from the side view, you can see that this is the cervix, this one is the cervix, then behind that you can see that it is just in front of the rectum is the cervix part, then here from here view it is the vagina. Now here we can see the uterus here, this is the uterus part. Just below the uterus is the urinary bladder. This is the pubic symphysis, this part. Okay, this is the urethra which is carrying the urine from the urinary bladder and just it is for excretion, right? Now this is a clitoris. We will learn what is clitoris. Just understand this part is the clitoris. This all we will be learning down, and this is the vaginal orifice. Okay, so it is the opening of the vagina or the vaginal orifice. Orifice means a hole. Now here each fallopian tube, we will just move here. So see this diagram first. Now the oviducts or the fallopian tube. So these are the oviducts. So this part full is the fallopian tube or the oviduct. They are a major part of this ovary, right? So we can say that these oviducts, they constitute of isthmus, ampulla and infundibulum. So what are these? So each fallopian tube is about 10 to 12 centimeter. It is fully about 10 to 12 centimeter long, and it extends from the periphery of each ovary to the uterus. So it is extending from the periphery of the ovary to the uterus. Okay, to the uterus it is extending. Now, the part closer to the ovary is a funnel-shaped infundibulum. So, near the ovary, what is this present? It is a funnel-shaped infundibulum. So, you can see the shape of this infundibulum. It is funnel shape. The edges of the infundibulum, they possess finger-like projections called fimbriae. So, these are finger-like projections. You can see these are fimbriae because these are finger-like projections which help to collect the ovum after ovulation. So as soon as ovulation is happening from the ovary, this fimbriae, they are collecting the ovum and they are passing it through the infundibulum to the ampulla. So what is ampulla? The infundibulum leads to a wider part which is called the ampulla. Okay. Part of the oviduct which is called the ampulla. The last part of the oviduct, that is isthmus, has a narrow lumen which joins the uterus. So isthmus, it is having a narrow lumen which is connecting to the uterus. Is it clear? So fallopian tube having three main parts. First is infundibulum, then ampulla, and then last comes the isthmus. So infundibulum is having fimbriae. It is having finger-like projections which are collecting the ovum, which is given out by the ovary during ovulation, and they are being passed through the infundibulum, through the ampulla, to the isthmus, and then to the uterus. Right? Is it clear? Now let us move on to the next part. Now the uterus is single and is also called the womb, right? So the shape of the uterus is like an inverted pear. So thus we can see here, see the shape is just like an inverted pear. This is the uterus and it is looking like an inverted pear. Okay, now it is supported by ligaments attached to the pelvic wall, and the uterus opens through a narrow cervix. The cavity of the cervix is called the cervical canal. So the uterus, we see the diagram here, the uterus is opening to a cervix, and the cervix in turn is opening to a cervical canal to the vagina, the vaginal opening. Okay, so this is the cervix is opening into the cervical canal, and this is the vagina, the opening, the vaginal orifice. Okay. Now, along with the vagina, which forms the birth canal. So, through the vagina only, after the baby matures inside the uterus, it will pass through the birth canal. So, the wall of the uterus has three-layered tissue. The external thin layer is the perimetrium. So, we will see that the middle thick layer is the myometrium, and the inner glandular layer is the endometrium. The first one is the outer layer is the perimetrium. The middle muscular layer is the myometrium, this layer, and the inner glandular layer is the endometrium. Is it clear? So, you are all supposed to learn these diagrams with labeling. So, here in this NCERT book, it has been given very nicely. So, go through the diagram. Very clearly it has been given all the parts of uterus, all the parts, all the labelings, all the layers of the ovary. Everything has been given properly. Okay, so uterus also, the inside uterine cavity, uterine fundus, everything has been given very much clearly. So please go to this part and draw and label this picture, practice it properly. Okay, now let us see what else is there. Now, the endometrium undergoes cyclical changes during the menstrual cycle. So, this menstrual cycle we will be learning in a separate class. So, this menstrual cycle again we will learn in a separate class. So, the endometrium undergoes cyclical changes during menstrual cycle, while the myometrium exhibits the strong contraction during the delivery of the baby. Okay, so endometrium or the inner glandular wall, which I have shown you here, this is undergoing certain changes during menstrual cycle, whereas this myometrium or muscular layer, it undergoes contraction and relaxation during the birth of a baby. When the baby is here and it is trying to come out of this birth canal, through this contraction and relaxation, the baby will pass out. Okay. So now the female external genitalia includes mons pubis, labia majora and labia minora, hymen and clitoris. So what is mons pubis? Mons pubis is a cushion of fatty tissue covered by a skin and pubic hair. So this mons pubis is actually the outer part. It is a cushion. It is a cushion of thick tissue which is covered by the skin and pubic hair. Okay. Now after that comes the labia majora. It is the fleshy folds of the tissue which extends down from the mons pubis and surrounds the vaginal opening. First comes the mons pubis, then comes the labia majora, and then comes the labia minora, which are paired folds of the tissue under the labia majora. So we will move up to the diagram and we will see what is this. Now first you can see this is the labia minora. Okay, this is the labia minora. The outside part is the labia minora. Then comes the here the first is the vaginal orifice. Then comes the labia majora, and then inside to labia majora is the labia minora. Okay, and here is the clitoris. So what is clitoris? We will see there down. See here. Now, the opening of the vagina is often covered by partially a membrane called the hymen. So, in the vaginal orifice, there is a we can say that a membrane-like thing which is called hymen. Okay, so this is during the first intercourse, this hymen tears off. So, but in certain cases, when in sports or other activities, you can say, however, it can also be broken by a sudden fall, insertion of vaginal tampon, active participation in some sports like horseback riding, cycling, etc. Right? So, after hymen, we will move on to clitoris. What is this? This is a tiny finger-like structure which lies at the upper junction of two labia minora. So two labia minora are the paired folds of tissues. So just at the upper junction of labia minora, we can see the clitoris. Clitoris is a part, it is looking like a tiny finger-like structure which lies at the upper junction of two labia minora above the urethral opening, just above the urethral opening. So what is urethral opening? Through which the urine is passing. Okay. So urine is passing out through the urethral opening. So above the urethral opening is only the clitoris. So clitoris is a finger-like structure. It is just above the urethral opening and in the upper junction of the two labia minora. The hymen is torn during the first coitus or intercourse, I told you. However, it is also broken by a sudden fall or jolt, insertion of vaginal tampon, active participation in some sports like horse riding, cycling, etc. In women, the hymen persists ever after the coitus. In fact, the presence or the absence of hymen is not reliable indicator of the virginity of sexual experience, right? So it is not only the indicator, a reliable indicator of virginity or a sexual experience, right? Now we will move on to the mammary gland. Okay. Here comes the mammary gland. So mammary gland, it is a diagrammatic sectional view of mammary gland. Here you can see these lobes are the mammary lobes. These are mammary alveolus. We have seen alveolus in lungs also. So these are mammary alveolus. Here is the mammary duct. So these are duct. Here these are lactiferous duct. That is, they secrete milk. This is the nipple, and this area just beside this nipple is the areola. Okay, so through this nipple the milk will come out during nursing of the baby. Okay, so this is the mammary lobe, this is the mammary alveolus, mammary duct. These one are the duct. Duct means tube which is carrying the milk after produced in the mammary alveolus. So it is being carried through the lactiferous duct to the nipple, and the region just outside the nipple is the areola. Okay, so these are ribs, and this is the muscle between the ribs. So these are the ribs. and this is pectoralis major muscle. This is the pectoralis major muscle on which the full this mammary gland is hanging. So this is the pectoralis major muscle. Okay, now let us go to this part. Now, a functional mammary gland is a characteristic of all female mammals. The mammary glands are paired structure of breasts, okay, that contain glandular tissue and variable amount of fat. The glandular tissue of each breast is divided into 15 to 20 mammary lobes containing clusters of cells called alveoli. I have just now told you they are containing clusters of cell called alveoli. So these all clusters of cell are called alveoli, that is, these are mammary alveolus or alveoli singular. And the cells of alveoli secrete milk. Mammary alveolus is the center where milk is secreted, which is stored in the cavities or the lumens of alveoli. The alveoli open up into the mammary tubule, and the tubules of each lobe join to form the mammary duct. So here you see the lactiferous duct are the mammary duct. The tubules, they join together to form this lactiferous duct. And several mammary ducts join to the wider ampulla, which is connected to the lactiferous duct, through which the milk is sucked out. So this is the whole female reproductive system. So in the next part, this mammary gland or this mammary gland section also, you just practice with labeling this NEET diagram. This diagram is very much proper. Practice it with labeling. So in the next part, next episode, we will be studying about gametogenesis. So this is all for today's class. Please do subscribe to my channel so that whenever I'm posting the next episode, you will get an update. And stay tuned, stay subscribed. If you are having any doubts, any queries, please write in my comment box. And please share this channel with your friends as well, and don't skip the lesson in between so that you'll be missing many important parts. So stay tuned, stay updated. Thank you.